Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for your time today. On behalf of Amrita Gala, Andrei Kiselev, Cynthia Zambrano, and Elena DeSantis, my name is Noel Carr, and today we're going to talk to you about the importance of developing a leadership culture within your organization. According to a recent study published in the Wall Street Journal, fewer than half of American workers are satisfied with their jobs. That's less than 50%. To help you visualize this figure, imagine that you're a football coach. Would you allow only half of your team out onto the field at any one time? What about your commute to work this morning? Would you have driven to work if you only had 2 wheels on your car as opposed to 4? So why do you allow more than half of your workers to be dissatisfied? An article from the New York Times entitled "Do Happier People Work Harder?" explained that lower job satisfaction foreshadowed poor bottom line performance. Gallup estimates that America's disengagement crisis cost American businesses over $300 billion annually. When people don't care about their jobs and when they're disengaged, they show up less, they produce less, and the quality of their work suffers. So how does this relate to leadership? The Leadership Quarterly recently published a study that found a positive relationship between individual outcomes, such as job satisfaction, and the impressions that employees had of their supervisors' leadership capability. So in other words, an exceptional organizational leadership culture leads to more productive employees, increased company performance, and positions you and your company for long-term success.
To illustrate Noel's point, we interviewed Mr. Nikhil Desai, who is the general manager at a multi-million-dollar pharmaceutical and chemical manufacturing company. Nikhil joined the Surfactant division in 2012. At that time, the marketing team had to find potential clients for a particular new product. They were given a target of 5 companies every week. However, the team found just 2 or 3 companies because they were not willing to put in more effort for this added responsibility. Nikhil met with the team and told them that this project was their personal responsibility. It was their own baby to nurture and grow. As you can see in the graph, the list grew from 2 to 3 clients to 38 clients in just 3 weeks. According to Nikhil, empowering the team and encouraging them to act made all the difference rather than just setting the goals and shooting orders. The production capacity, which was consistent at 20,000 metric tons per month prior to Nikhil's arrival, shot to 60,000 metric tons per month in 2014. There was a 5-fold increase in the production. How did this happen? What changed? What was the prime reason for the tremendous increment? Initially, there was a classical style of management where decisions were taken by the top executives and conveyed to the team. When Nikhil joined the division, he changed this approach. He started taking the time and he started talking to the entire team and took their inputs. Although he did not implement all the suggestions, by doing this, he made everyone a part of the vision and instilled the sense of core values.
The first step to credible leadership is to develop clear values for the organization. The Leadership Excellence Journal recommends that this be done as a team. Call the team together for an open discussion. Identify the problematic behaviors that might be hindering the performance of the firm. More importantly, identify the negative effects that these behaviors might have on the performance of the firm, and be specific. Now, this is where you get to have a little bit of fun. Identify the key behaviors necessary to achieve the ideal performance of the firm. Once these behaviors have been identified, make sure to hold everyone accountable to these behaviors. These ideal behaviors or values that are at the core of everything the firm and everyone at the firm says and does. These values can be any number of key behaviors, but it is important to be honest with yourself when identifying these values. Adapting a leadership culture and one of accountability cannot be made by adapting another firm's values. We stress that you put in the time to identify what is most dear to you as an organization and as a group of leaders. It must be in line with the mission of the organization. Identifying the values will result in more than a call to arms. it will result in a change in behavior among the staff. According to a study done by the University of Minnesota, when interviewing individuals of an organization that has adopted values such as honesty, respect, responsibility, and perseverance, 78% of interviewees described their ability to transfer these values to life skills, such as decision-making, self-management, and setting goals. The transfer of these skills is only possible if all personnel in an organization are kept accountable for their actions when held up against these core values.
RT Industries Limited used their employees as a valuable resource in increasing productivity. How is this done? We have all heard the phrase, a happy worker is a productive worker, but how do you boost people past the level of happy to empowered? Through market research, we have found two key leadership practices that are crucial in doing this. The first is encouragement through individual recognition, and the second is enabling and encouraging employees by creating an environment of trust and support. As mentioned, individual recognition is key. In an interview with Richard Grafmeyer, CEO and President of Penn Woods Bancorp and Jersey Shore State Bank, said that he builds leadership from within by visiting each branch on a routine basis to introduce himself and check in with every employee, from loan officers to CSRs in the teller line. He specifically points out and shows enthusiasm for individual accomplishments at all levels, so everyone knows they are recognized for their hard work and feel supported. He said behavior like this retains and encourages employees to climb the ranks within the company. He also uses his own success story of starting from a personal banker to inspire those beneath him. Aside from Richard Grafmeyer at JSSB, individual recognition has been shown to have positive effects on the operations and outcomes of businesses. In a recent study by Forbes, companies that scored in the top 20% for building a recognition-rich culture enjoyed 31% lower voluntary turnover rate. Decreasing the turnover preserves the know-how within a company, allowing for tomorrow's CEOs to be formed, while saving on training and recruitment costs. Most studies estimate that it costs between 30 and 50% of an annual salary to replace an entry-level employee, and 150% of the annual salary of a mid-level employee. Additionally, employees need to feel they are part of a community of trust and support to step out of their comfort zone and take the initiative necessary for their companies. Going back to the example from JSSB, it's a tradition that the bank employees show appreciation for their customers by giving them free scoops of ice cream on Employee Appreciation Day. On this day, Richard Grafmeyer was known for showing up at the bank during lunch hours so that the tellers and bankers were able to take a break from scooping. This act displayed the theory called servant leadership, which has a focus on supporting the followers to attain desired results. In a statistical study shown in the Interdisciplinary Journal of Contemporary Research in Business in December 2013, servant leadership was linked to employee empowerment through a statistical study of 420 employees at an Indian university. This study took the characteristics of previous models that measured employee empowerment into consideration to ensure the characteristics of this study were specifically linked to the supportive characteristics known to servant leadership. The first part of the servant leadership questionnaire contained questions that measured servant leadership characteristics such as service, humility, trust, and kindness. The second part contained questions that measured employee empowerment characteristics such as effectiveness, competence, autonomy, and meaningfulness. The end results had a reliability coefficient of 0.96, and these pooled results showed a strong correlation between the linkage of creating a supportive employee environment and employee empowerment. Just to sum up the importance of employee empowerment, in June 2013, Gallup used 263 research studies across 192 organizations, 49 industries, and 34 countries. And within each study, the researchers statistically calculated the work unit level relationship between employee engagement and job satisfaction with these performance outcomes: customer ratings, profitability, productivity, turnover rates, shrinkage, absenteeism, patient safety incidents, and quality. As you can see in the graph, the results showed that the work units in the top quartile of employee engagement outperformed those in the bottom quartile greatly in all of these respective categories, increasing productivity, customer satisfaction, and profitability, and then decreasing the other rates such as shrinkage, turnover, patient safety incidences, and quality defects.
As we have shown, companies that have a strong leadership culture turn missed opportunities into business realities. And as the evidence suggests, leadership is not something that pertains only to the supervisor, manager, or the CEO of a company. Actually, on the contrary, much of the synergy of the organization's business results relies on the team and the employees. Additionally, building a strong leadership culture from within the organization increases the success rate during difficult circumstances. For instance, when the company replaces its C-suite executive. A change in leadership at this level costs companies more money, market share, and loss of reputation than any other single event. Internally, morale suffers, affecting the willingness to take risks. And these changes are 50% more frequent than they were 10 years ago. According to Studer and Weiskopf, in 2007, the turnover rate of United States CEOs alone was 50%. 40% of U.S. CEOs fail in their new roles and are replaced or retired in their first 18 months of the job. The cost of having the wrong CEO, even for just 18 months, can range between 12 million and 50 million, depending on the size of the corporation. This cost calculates only the cost of compensation, inefficiencies, and opportunities forgone. The total cost of CEO failures of the U.S. economy amounts to $14 billion per year. And the failure has little to do with individuals' competence, nor if they had prior CEO experience. One example is the case of William Harris at Nike. Harris had successfully served as CEO of S.C. Johnson Family. In 2004, Phil Knight, chairman of Nike, brought Harris to the organization. Just over a year later, both recognized a problem of cultural fit on how to best lead the company's long-term growth, and Harris resigned. The severance package that Nike gave Harris amounted only to $14 million. And actually, both Nike and Harris have continued to be successful. Harris is the CEO of Wrigley, and Nike's performance in terms of net profit continued increasing in the last decade. There was no change in 2004 and 2005. In the case of Nike, the strong leadership culture was responsible of identifying quickly the lack of fit with parents, and it held together the organization while leaderless. Nike eventually included cultural considerations in their leadership process, in the selection of the leadership process, and found the right CEO for Nike, not just a competent one, which is the case with Mark Parker, who is the current executive leader since 2006. In conclusion, a company cannot afford not to have a strong leadership culture. As we showed, there is evidence in the